is at it. But you see, the problem only gets worse, people. Wallahi. There is a book, Beheshti Zevar, written by Moulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, found in most Islamic bookstores that are deobandi affiliated, taught to girls. This book was designed as a gift for young girls who can read, or women, especially, uh, into early womanhood and stuff like this. It was actually, in fact, Ashraf Ali Thanvi says that women should just learn this, then they don't need to learn how to read anything beyond that. This is for them. Beheshti, heavenly Zevar ornaments. A very popular book. Okay, let's take a look. Now, this is one of the key. Now, this is shocking to its core. Moulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi speaks in this book about marrying, he's not speaking about just marrying. He's speaking about having sex with girls who are underage. He uses the word have not reached puberty. He then goes on to highlight that you don't should you he says that obviously the man is going to do ghusl after he's raped her, obviously because she's an underage non-pubescent girl. He says that even though ghusl isn't wajib on the girl, but you should always make her do a ghusl after being raped, because you should get her accustomed to the ghusl, to the ritual bath. This is I'm going to show you this from his actual book in a moment, right? So this is not me. He says that, and we know himself, he married what was it, a 10-year-old as well, which I covered last week. This is the same Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, okay, in his book Beheshti Zevar, saying this. Apart from the other stuff, like you should beat up women if they do this, okay, don't excessively beat them, but beat them up, lock them up, she can't leave the house without your permission, um, all of this, and you can see that right there. So just to un momentico,
Not a
right? I'm
single
just going
deobandi
to.
that will not accept Moulana Thanvi's writings. Yes or no? Allama Thanvi, Sheikh Thanvi, Moulana Thanvi, whatever you want to call him. Not a single deobandi that will not accept Moulana Thanvi's writings. Yes or no? Allama Thanvi, Sheikh Thanvi, Moulana Thanvi, whatever you want to call him.
See, this is the.
He was one of the greatest scholars of the Deobandi legacy.
Many people from amongst the scholars and the pious have regarded him as to have been the mujaddid of the
He was the reviver of this entire
14th
century.
Even by looking at Raza Thanvi rahmatullah alayhi, he had such a lovable personality. When he would go anywhere, people would flock and just to see him and have a glimpse of him.
So that's, now I'm going to show you here. Right now. Okay, so this is just to show you that. One moment. Right, I'll just wait for this to. Bloody hell. All right, there it is. Look here. This is his book.
लिखने वाले मौलाना अशरफ अली थानवी.
You can hear that.
है मुसन्नफ़ हकीमुल उम्मा मौलाना अशरफ अली थानवी.
Moulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi.
के लिए किताब. और इस किताब का सफ़ा नंबर है जी.
See, he's giving you the page number.
और इसका मसला ये पढ़िए आप. छोटी लड़की से अगर किसी मर्द ने सोहबत की जो अभी जवान नहीं हुई है.
He says if a man has had sex with a girl who is not yet she's not yet jawan, she hasn't reached puberty.
तो इस पर गुस्ल वाजिब नहीं है, लेकिन आदत डालने के लिए.
He says ghusl isn't wajib, but adat dalne ke liye, in order to make her accustomed to the ritual bath,
उसे गुस्ल कराना चाहिए.
you should make her take a shower as well afterwards.
छोटी लड़की से। ये लड़कियों और औरतों के लिए ये किताब है, लेकिन देखिए
And this
किस
book is
तरीके से
written for girls, by the
औलियानियत
way.
और
It's not written for boys. This book is written for
फहाशी
girls.
को आम किया जा रहा है। और देखिए
You know,
There's not a single Deobandi that will not accept Moulana Thanvi's writings. Yes or no? Allama Thanvi, Sheikh Thanvi, Moulana Thanvi, whatever you want to call him, he was one of the greatest scholars of the Deobandi legacy.
this
Many
is the
people-
problem, people. You know, somebody said a moment ago, somebody asked that why do these, that when I spoke about the Australian Deobandi Imam, why do these people, Maulana Shakib, why do they justify, why do they try to defend underage marriages? It's been so normalized to them, so normalized that they think like, well, okay, people don't do it today, but what's the big deal? And it shocks me, honestly, how widespread this nonsense is. Not a single Deobandi Imam will condemn this. I would love to see, recently, Mufti Taqi spoke out against Khatm Bukhari. He said, oh, this might become a bid'ah. He condemned it. Yeah, it became a bit of a hoo-ha. Will he ever condemn this? No. Will any of these Deobandi Shuyukh, Mashayikh, Limbada Saab, these two, Bud, what are they, Sita Gita, any of the, will they ever call out this rape for what it is? No. They will continue, wallahi, in the UK. In the UK, this book is being taught in the maktabs, in where they have like Islam class or whatever. It's not like a developed madrasa, but in the mosque where they teach Islam to girls, they teach this book. Most Deobandi girls who have been brought up in this country will own a copy of this book. Did you know that? Most of them and Deobandis are only a practicing group, so you don't get lay Deobandi like the way you get lay Brilvis, because common Muslims by default are Brilvi. It's only the religious kind that actively choose to be Deobandi. So you, by default, you're not just going to be Deobandi. So Deobandi are usually a practicing crowd. So in their households, they will have Beheshti Zevar. This is in that. This nonsense. Trying to say, well, you should, you should inculcate the habit in this little 10-year-old after you forced yourself on her to take a ritual bath because, ghusl, and even though it's not wajib, but adat dalne ke liye. Yaar, you should have a habit. This is being taught here in the UK. Well, you see, now you may say, well, in some of these places, they don't teach that chapter or paragraph. That is unacceptable. Wallahi, these books need to be burnt. Okay? It's utterly unacceptable. It is a betrayal to Allah and His Messenger that this kind of bullshit can be passed in the name of Islam. Utterly unacceptable. Anybody who is promoting that book, two things. Wallahi. One, okay, they should be educated. Because maybe people don't know. Some people don't know this is in there. They probably don't read it so thoroughly. It's not a big book, but they probably haven't read it all so attentively. So I would say at first they should be educated, okay, made aware and told, highlighted. Maybe, because I don't believe most Deobandis would agree with this, but they're just going to be too chicken shit to be able to call it out for the nonce pedophilic kind of behavior that it is. They just won't be able to call it out. But I don't think most of them would agree with it. So they need to be educated and informed. Or if they are educated and informed and don't care, then wallahi, they need to be arrested. These people cannot be in positions of trust. Educating little girls. teaching them this kind of nonsense, that this is what little should be done with little girls, make them grow a habit of how to take a ghusl shar'i, a ritual bath after being raped. Wallahi, this, I tell you something. This is the biggest betrayal, the khiyana, the biggest akbaru khiyana to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I say this because wallahi, you've got no idea how common this book is. You're going to think that, oh, Mufti is just going on, this book, nobody's even got this book. You'll be shocked how common this book is. This is commonplace, Beheshti Zevar. And they're going to say, yeah, but our ulama said, yaar, you don't need to go by Beheshti Zevar. Koi baat nahi, yaar, koi isme chand baatein se likhi hui hain. You don't need to. No, condemn. You have to change that attitude. It can't be just, yaar, we're going to cover up for him. Stop covering up. This is wrong. It is rape. It is a child. And you're normalizing this kind of bullshit. So you need to stop and you need to call it out. And I accept that many people don't know about it. You need to educate them. And those who do know about it, they can't play it down. This kind of like, yaar, he lived in 1920. Koi baat nahi. Theek hai. He's buried, isn't he? Bury the book. You're teaching people to bury the Quran. You're saying to people, bury the Quran. You can't bury his book. Did his book come down min as-samawati as-sab'a? You're saying to people to cause enmity, bury in a graveyard. Take his book and bury it. This is the stuff that these people don't speak about. This is why Islam is being maligned the way it is. And you think I'm just making this up? You will see. Look, watch. I will show you. You think that, Mufti, some people might say, Mufti is just making a song and a dance about this. This, apart from it being the tragedy that it is, that people are normalizing.
I am Salafi, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm Salafi.
I'm so close to just, on this I don't swear. And I'm just losing it because I don't.
I am Salafi.
Right, now I'm going to show you here. Right, because you guys would think that, look, Mufti is just saying this. People are not onto this already. This has already been reported in the news. You're going to see, okay, they've reported other aspects of it. They haven't caught on to everything yet, but it's only a matter of time. Look at this. Look at that. This is in the Toronto Sun. This is in the papers years ago. Book tells Muslim men how to beat and control their wives. It is necessary to restrain her with strength, even if it's to threaten her. Now, he goes on to say she cannot leave his house without his permission. She must fulfill his desires. A woman has no right to refuse under any circumstances unless it's near death. Sex. This has already been picked up by tabloids. This is not me just saying something that these people have not. And these people are, many of them sometimes are Islamophobic. They are looking for these kind of excuses. And this is the kind of filth that obviously some Muslims are unfortunately spreading. Look, see, it says here, he says that how he should, that's the book, and that's a picture apparently of, I don't know, that's the picture people give of Moulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, the Godhead. And this is, apart from, now are you surprised when I said last week that he married what was approximately a 10-year-old? Now, You see, advising how to beat her, you should beat by hand or stick. You should withhold money from her. These are the things that, right, okay, now that's something a bit. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this is because, look, are these not concerns? Or is the big concern, these Deobandi Imams all, we're gonna, we've got so much time. Karo yaar, you want to, I don't mind. You do it. You're just promoting me. I have a Deobandi Imam contacting me from Australia. Usko takleef ho rahi hai. He's calling me and then justifying on the conversation underage marriages. Is this not a bigger problem? Or is it that Mufti explains miracles through natural means? Is that such a big calamity for you? Oh, it's such a big fitna. Mufti, you've become you're a Dajjal. Ye Dajjal nahi nazar aa raha hai. Doing all this kind of nonsense in the name of Allah and His Prophet. This is why Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have such a amongst people. This is why. Now, the tabloids have already picked up on this stuff. I don't know, maybe they haven't picked up on this particular part, but they've picked up on the wife beating, control her, hold back her money. This is the kind of stuff I've ask around. Speak to Deobandi girls that have been brought up in Deobandi households. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Girls that have been brought up in Deobandi household. And this is why many of those girls who are brought up in Deobandi households struggle then with their faith. Because look, normal Muslims, and I have to highlight this again, regular practicing, okay, let's take the Desi world, Indo-Pak world, and Bangladesh. Now, these countries, regular Muslims, that means Muslim by name, Muslim by culture, are Brelvi. They're not part of these institutions. So your regular Muslims won't have had these kind of books. The practicing people, so to be a Deobandi is an active choice. It's like a bit like how you have Protestants or Seventh-day Adventists, or you're gonna Methodists, so you're gonna. These people are usually active choices. You're not just a lay Deobandi or a lay Ahl Hadith. It doesn't happen like that. These are practicing circles. In these circles, when girls are there, so they're raised in these homes, a lot of them, this is why they struggle with their iman. They're being fed this kind of filth. And then these people are like almost like prophets. Moulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahab, he's the greatest man who ever lived. He's the, like Moulana, they were saying, just to see him is an act of ibadah. It's, it's so wonderful if you could just see him, let alone be in his company or his books. He's one of the greatest. This is, and I'm not saying, people are going to say he wrote books on this and that as well. Okay. But does it justify this? Somebody wrote a comment. They said, Mufti, come on. I expected better from you than to highlight these things about, the Deobandi elders. Why don't you just keep it with these two? Why are you speaking about that? Are these not concerns? Does this not concern you? If your daughter tomorrow had to be told this kind of stuff, or if she was with somebody exploiting her like this, are these other little girls that has happened to, are they not people's daughters? Or is it only your problem when it happens to you? This is the problem. You don't feel what is going on with other people. It's only, if it happens to my family, then it's a problem. No, it's a problem now. The fact that this man, less than 100 years ago, took a bride that was like only 10 and justified it because of some dream about the mother of the believers coming to his house speaks volumes. So we need to prioritize, get our stuff in order, man. We need to. Honestly, it riles me, this stuff.